Hello everyone, first of all, to everyone who will going to see this video. Today we are talking with Patrick Loeffler. He is actually founder and managing director of givve. This is very, they have come through some difficult times. They work on the market already 9 years, maybe more, and we're super excited to ask some questions to Patrick. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Could you tell us a little bit how have you found this idea of your company, and a little bit about the current services? What do you do currently? How have you came to this point?
Thank you very much for the invitation. As I already said, I think it's a super cool idea to being interviewed from Siberia to Munich. I'm a little bit nervous. I think it's amazing that you do this. And we started, it was called, in the beginning it was called Bon.eu, and it was a B2C product. We founded the company in 2010, and we had the first product available in 2011. And it was a gift card that you could redeem everywhere. And it was a B2C product. The base was a MasterCard. And this was a tough business because our competition was the H&M or Zara or Amazon gift card. And they are very aggressive in marketing. So our customer acquisition costs were super high, and we burned a lot of investment money. And yeah, the company was not doing so well. We had good user figures, but the customer acquisition costs were in the end too high. So we thought, hey, what can we do? And we always had some questions from companies. They wanted to buy our gift cards to give them to their employees. And then we started to look into this idea, and we found out that this is a potential good niche market. And we rebuilt, or we pivoted from B2C to B2B market. This was, we totally underestimated this. We just thought we have to tweak a little bit here, a little bit there, but B2C is very different from B2B. And it was a big challenge. We also lost, we were 3 founders, and we lost the third one during this time because it was just super hard. He left to work for Amazon, and the CTO, Alex, and me, we were the last 2 standing. And before, we already were 15 people, but during this pivot from B2C to B2B, we were only 4, and the company was nearly bankrupt. It was a tough time, but it was the right decision. The B2B market is good, and it's employer branding. So employers give prepaid credit cards to employees, because in Germany this is tax-free, up to 44 euros per month. And this is a great business. And yeah, we are staying in this business. We have now a second product. It's a mobile app. You can use it for lunch tax benefits, and we are now 35 people. So, and also during the Corona crisis, our business is, we are not selling so many new cards. Before, we sold 1,000 cards per day. This went down a lot because not many companies doing new business with us, but the customers we have, they are loading the cards every month. So for us, the crisis is okay. Could be worse. So we are kind of not super happy, but we don't need to let go of people or something. So it's okay for us. Is this a good summary for the beginning?
Perfect. Yeah. You know, I was surprised in Germany that when I have a card, credit card, or maybe this is wrong name for it, I was surprised that I cannot pay everywhere with the card because you have different types of cards. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What do you mean by prepaid card?
Yeah, the Germans are always super slow on innovation. It's a dangerous statement, but it's the Germans, they sometimes they don't like new things. So Germany is really underbanked with digital payments. In Europe, we are really the last ones. All other countries, they are much more used to MasterCards or to even digital contactless payment methods. In Germany, it's we are slow on this. And a prepaid MasterCard, it works like this. If you are an employee, you receive this card from your employer. It also can be branded, can be a Microsoft card or a Toyota card. It's then in the design of the employer, and the employer loads every month, maybe on the 15th, 44 euros on this card, and the employee can spend it or save it like 10 months, then he has 440 euros and buy something bigger with this card. And this card works everywhere where MasterCards are accepted. And why we are still a FinTech and not just a card reseller, all the system in the background, the loading of the cards and the management of the cards, we had to build it ourselves. It's amazing how there are nearly no back-end systems available. If you always have to build it yourself. I don't know the situation in Russia, but in Western Europe, it's if you want to start or build a card business, if you want to be really efficient, you have to build the back end totally yourself. And that's also a big success factor from Give. Our system, it's really scalable. Last year we loaded to our cards around 120 million euros, and this with a small team like ours. Last year we were only 25 people, and this is only possible because it's the background or the backend, it's high tech, and that's the reason why we are so successful.
You might do it even longer. That's okay. We're here to know more about the business, the fintech business in Germany. So the question is why. What's then employee do with these cards? They put some of their own cash to this card to just not to keep cash with them, or what for this prepaid card needed actually?
That's a good question. It's the reason why employers give it to their employees, because it's tax-free. You know, in Germany, on your wages, the taxes are super high on it. So if I want to give you an increase in your salary, I want to give you 10 euros more salary. I'm the employer now. Then I need to give you 20 euros, more or less, that you receive 10 euros. The rest is tax and social security and all these things. And if you do it through a card, or you can give a toaster or a watch or things or services, it can't be cash. It must really be a voucher or something tangible. Then up to 44 euros per month, it's tax free. So I give you 10 euros on the card, you receive 10 euros. So it's from a tax standpoint, it's much better, and also from a psychological standpoint, because if I give you 10 euros per month salary increase, then it goes to your account, and from your account you have to pay your telephone, your rent, your, I don't know, so many things, and it gets just lost. But if it's on a card, then it's so much, it's like a little extra. Mine is well used, but that's my card.
Mm-hmm.
And every month I receive 44 euros on this card, and it's I have my account where my salary goes to. I share this account with my wife, so she knows exactly what we are doing with our money. But this card, it's mine, so I can do with it what I want.
So do you mean this is just this card is used just for some extra money for salary? It doesn't, the money doesn't flow through this card. If I, for example, spend 40 euro, then you load another 40 euro. It's just only 44 per month.
It's 44 per month, and we have some ongoing law changes in the moment. But until the end of last year, you also were able to load your own money onto the card from your private bank account. So this could really be your only MasterCard. But the law is changing in Germany, and we have to, currently this is on hold, but we are thinking about reintroducing this function. And this is cool, because if you go on a holiday and you don't have a MasterCard, and as I said in the beginning, in Germany, only 1 of 4 persons has a MasterCard or a Visa card. It's totally crazy. Then you could load money onto this, maybe 500 euros, and go on holidays with it, or buy something from the internet.
Now I understand, yeah. And when you decided to make a pivot, have you made some research about the solutions within within Germany and somewhere abroad? How have you made such a decision?
Yeah, I'm very honest. It was a very opportunistic and not a very scientific decision. We just had some customers, and some B2B customers, and they knew exactly what they wanted, because before I didn't know about this tax possibility. But these customers, one was also another startup, it was called My Muesli, and they had 40 employees, and they said, hey, I want your card. And we still were in B2C, but I don't want to buy 1 card, but 40 cards. And I want to load money on this card every month. And we thought, why do you want to do this? Like you asked me. And they said, yeah, because 44 euros, it's tax free. And we said, oh, hey, that's a good idea. And that's how it started. So not a very scientific approach. And to be honest, I don't, so many startups, they always make great market research and stuff. You can do this, but I think sometimes you can also make your own market, you know? If there's one customer who has a need, there's certainly other customers who have the same need. And then you just have to have a great product that works. And then I think you can also sometimes, not always, but sometimes you can create your own market. So market studies can sometimes be also misleading. So don't invest too much of your time in market studies. That's my opinion.
Actually, what have you told? What you told is I hear very often, and this is about customer development. You just you just found the solution occasionally, yeah, but sometimes somebody, many of people actually, they are trying to do this like. They make a lot of interviews with some potential customers, some potential partners. So it was, so sometimes they have luck to find some idea as you found. So yeah, this is like fortune maybe somewhere.
I don't know if you know Mark Cuban. He was also the founder of Netscape. He's an American. I think he's a billionaire, and he has 10 rules for startups or something like this. You can Google this and find it. He's called Mark Cuban, and one of these rules I like very much is not everybody likes it, but in the beginning it helped us a lot. Sales cures all. So if you can, if you have some sales and some money comes in, it's so much easier as a startup, because you're not relying only on the investment, so on the money from the investor. So interviewing is great, but even better if you can sell something, and maybe you sell it even without having the product finished. But really, you know, if somebody says in an interview, I would buy it, that's a good indication, but you don't know if this potential customer would really buy it. I am totally convinced if you can really sell it and make a customer pay for it, that's so much better. Then you really have a proof of concept, and then you have a market.
Mm-hmm. I totally
Sales
agree.
cures all.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with that. If you're working as business model, SaaS business model, you don't need to receive a lot of payments, the huge amounts of money from your customers. You just need to prove the demands by some money for maybe a couple or 3 months, or maybe some yearly payment, and just to delay the install of the system while you develop it. But by the way, was this product ready by the moment when you decided to pivot, or you needed to make a lot of changes?
Yeah, again, an honest answer. The product for the consumer, for the cardholder, that was working very well from the beginning. But the whole automatization that made us ready for growth, we now have nearly 500,000 cards in the market. This took another 1.5 or 2 years. So being able to have a real scalable backend, that was not ready in the beginning, and that's a dangerous path, because if the growth would have been bigger in the beginning, it could have been a killer for the whole company, because we couldn't have serviced all the customers. So we were really lucky that we had enough sales, but not too much. And then when, to have a scalable backend, it's not necessary in the beginning, but if you're growing faster than you expect, then this can also be a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Your system might be crashed just by the amount of users.
Yeah, and it's in FinTech, it's always, if you order shoes online and it takes 5 days instead of 3, it's also not good, but it's probably okay. But if you do this with money, you're totally screwed, because people lose trust. With money, it needs to be on time, and mistakes, it's a 0.0 mistake culture, because with money, if you make one mistake, your trust is damaged for a long time. And we have customers that have 1,000 or even more cards, so they transfer every month 54,000 euros to us, and they expect amounts of money get to the cards safely and on time. And you can't be late, because if you are late, from the 1,000 people, if only 5 or 10 go to the company or to the human resource manager or to the finance manager and say, hey, I didn't, it's already the 20th of May. Normally we receive the money on the 15th. It's not there. Then you have lost. So in FinTech, and that's sometimes totally underestimated, in FinTech, you have to be, from a technical standpoint, you have to be really, really good. And no, you don't have to be good, you have to be excellent.
This is a perfect point of view for a businessman, actually, to do everything excellent, and to speak with the users.
And everything counts also on the customer side. With when you're dealing with money, you also have to have a high-tech customer service mindset, because if people have questions and the answer takes 3 days, maybe with shoes or fashion online, this is acceptable. With money, it's totally unacceptable. So this high-tech digital mind is an absolute must in FinTech.
What do you think about the future of the industry of the prepaid cards, for example, or what will happen? Where do you look at? I mean, what to prepare for? What do you expect for example? Where are you going to go in the nearest future?
That's a super good question. It's I'm thinking a lot about this, because, to be honest, since credit cards, since MasterCard, Visa, and the predecessor was the Diners Club card, the only real new brand scale product was PayPal. And anything else, it's not really, we haven't seen a lot of big evolutions or revolutions. So I hope that we see much more in the fintech industry, because the traditional banks, they are so slow. They are so slow. So I think for fintechs, the future is bright, because I hope I don't get angry letters now, but I think the banks, they are not, this is not a competition, and they are too slow, they are too old. I guess banks will be obsolete, and it's your job and my job and the job of your blog readers or viewers to put pressure on the banks and to develop other products and user-friendly products. Sometimes the banking apps from banks, I don't know how it is in Russia, but in Germany it's really awful. The user experience, oh my god, that's impossible. I don't know how they can survive. And they want to have money for this. That's not going to work. And also I know, because we had to develop our own backend system, so we looked at backends from banks. Oh my god, they are so far behind. They stopped developing in 1980 or something. So I'm amazed that the whole banking system still works. So many people in banks, they work with Excel as a database tool. Excel is not the database. So I'm happy that the banks still work. For me, it's a miracle. How do they do it? Because their systems are really old. And for fintechs, I see a really good future.
Mm-hmm.
And we need some innovation. So get creative, people.
Was a question, actually, we have spoken with previous interview, that banks really they're really slow. They have a lot of different systems, maybe 10 systems, maybe more. When somebody comes to bank, they should guide the person through all the systems to enter all the information. Scoring is awful and stuff like that. But speaking of the situation in Germany, the financial area is so regulated, so it's difficult for small fintech startup to provide loans, for example. If you don't have 100 people on the board. Is it going to happen someday?
We started to do lobbying work, political work, only 1.5 years ago, and this is also a very tough business. But yeah, I mean, me as a consumer, I'm happy that it's regulated and safe, but maybe it's just a little every month to lawyers. It's big, and it's too big. there need to be a differentiation. Do I load 44 euros on a card, or do I give loans in hundred thousands of euros? And currently there's no real differentiation. So I really hope that the legislation adapts a little bit. But the last years, the BaFin, it's the German regulator, they got really better. In the beginning, everything digital was bad, but now you can talk to them and they are cooperative and they really want to learn. So I'm hopeful that this is going to get better, but I guess it's going to take some time. That's a real problem.
The question is why, for example, banks are not partnering with startups. Why are they not buying technologies from startups? Why they still work on these obsolete systems?
We, in the beginning, I mean, that's 10 years ago now, but in the beginning we talked to 20 different banks, and with our idea, because we didn't have a system, and we talked to Deutsche Bank, to Bayerische Landesbank, to Sparkasse, to really everybody, and everybody told us, oh no, no, yeah, if you have 500,000 euros, maybe we start a project. But at that time we had zero money. So then we called MasterCard in New York and said, hey, we want to use your cards, we want to start a business in Germany, but we can't find a bank. Nobody wants to give us access. And they said, yeah, well, try Wirecard. And I don't know if you know Wirecard Bank. And 10 years ago, that was a crazy bank. It still is, but it's super successful. But they had very bad press at that time. But that was really, and it was a small bank at that time. And these were the only ones who were crazy enough and helpful enough to start this business with us. So I think it's again the problem that the banks are too big, too successful. And too slow. They can't really. In Germany, some of the banks, they made a contract together to build a competitor for PayPal. They are working on this now for years, and it's not happening. This is totally unsuccessful. They invested millions, and nothing happens. They need to change if they want to survive. They totally need to change their mindset, and they totally need to do what you said. They need to be much more open to new ideas. They need to buy startups like Apple, Google, all the other ones. They are buying startups every day just to get a little bit of new technology. Yeah, that has not arrived. Is this in Russia better, or is it the same as in Germany?
It depends on the banks, but after 6 years ago there was a crisis, so a lot of banks got out of the business, and the banks which are left, they actually understand what's happening. They created a syndicate to research the markets, because according to the research of every bank is the first one on the market, but according to the syndicate, the situation is different. And so every bank, I think not everyone, but I see a lot of accelerators from different banks. They are open to startups. They're trying to acquire technology or maybe pay monthly or yearly for technologies. They are trying to implement the solutions to their super apps, which are adopted from Asia, actually, the lifestyle banking. So I'm super surprised that the situation in Germany is totally different, actually, from this current point of view. But taking all this situation with different card types, when I cannot pay with my credit card or debit card, I need some prepaid card. Somewhere I need to pay by cash, and I don't have cash. I don't even see cash in Russia for weeks, for example. And in Berlin, I have to pay with coins for with parkomats and stuff like that.
In this respect, we Germans are a little bit crazy. Yeah, totally. We trust cash more than the digital payment solutions. I don't know why. It's stupid.
Maybe it's some mentality, some historical thing.
Yeah, the Germans are always a little bit cautious and mistrusting. And yeah, it's maybe it's a historical thing.
What do you see now? Do you have a lot of competitors in your field of play?
Yeah, it's no. We are surprised. We have seen some startups trying to do the same, but it's very hard in the end to succeed because, as I already said, it takes some time. That the sales cycle is long. From talk to a potential customer until he's really a customer, it's a long sales cycle, and that's tough for a startup. And on the other hand, the investment in the tech, it's huge, because you really nearly have to develop everything on your own. There are not many systems you can buy, and if you buy a system or rent or partner with somebody, the costs are huge. So it's kind of a bigger investment to get into this market. On the other hand, the sales cycle is long. So currently the competition is actually it's not a lot. Yeah.
So what do you think about moving somewhere on world market, US, maybe some Asian markets? Have you researched something there? What's happening there, or this is just only a local product?
Yeah, as you already heard, we are not so good at researching. It's a little bit our history. We, when we had tough times with the company, we were, before being successful, I think we were bankrupt nearly twice. And then the other founder and me, we started to being really good in bootstrapping and in focusing. Just one product, one niche market, so focused. And this made us successful. So and this is still somehow our history. We are not a startup that goes immediately into 19 different countries. That's not, we are not good in this. We are good in being focused and developing market and developing a product, and then making it successful and earning money with it. And that's just our strategy. And I don't know if you know, we sold the company to an international company. It's called Up. Their headquarters is in Paris, and in total they have 3,600 people working for Up. And this is great, and they are in more than 19 countries, and with with Up, we can now internationalize. Other countries are starting to using our technology. So our internationalization route is through our mother company.
I see. That's very logical if you understand your strong sides and your weaknesses. Yeah, and you see this, and this might be a better solution to partner with someone who has some such experience, some contacts, networking, and etc.
Yeah, and as you know, the financial markets, they are so different in the different markets. I don't know, you spoke with a lot of Russian colleagues, but did you speak with you said you had five interviews or something with people not from Russia?
Yeah, most of them was from Germany. I've spoken also with a guy from Russia. He worked a lot in Vietnam, and he says that the market there is completely different from Russian or European, and the market is, for example, in Africa, it's totally different too.
But that's a good chance, you know. That's a super opportunity, because you just look at the market and you can find different products for your or different opportunities for your solution. So if I like the fintech market and I like the B2B market side of it. The B2C is super hard, but B2B, there's a lot. It's a really good market.
Yeah, that's actually I believe too that fintech in different parts of the world has different percentage of growth. You know, somewhere for example in Poland, or if in the UK we have a lot of startups. If we go to some Poland or maybe some other countries, you have more opportunities. So if you don't have a goal to build a super international multi-billion company, you would be enough with the resources of certain types of countries, and there are still plenty of them. That's what I understood in last several months, speaking with people from different parts of the world. And even despite that we have made a lot of talks with guys from Russia, they work within different areas of the world, some in Africa, some in Asia, some in Eastern Europe, and I see that there are still places for some implementations, for some solutions, but you just need to execute, as I understood. Just do something somewhere.
Yeah. I was at a startup meeting and somebody said, the idea is king, but execution is King Kong. So
Yeah.
And I totally believe this. The idea, it doesn't have to be the big revolution, but you really have to excel in the execution. If you have a solid, super good execution, then you have a good chance to being successful.
Absolutely agree with that. What is your plans now, since you have sold some 100% of company? Or
we sold 100%, but I'm still my co-founder Alex and me, we are still the managing directors, and our mother company, the French company, it's an association. It's owned by the employees, so it's the atmosphere is really super good, and actually we are we are very happy, and for the moment we'd like to stay and develop new products. And they need to, in France, it's an old company. They are still producing paper vouchers, and they know that they need to transfer into digital, and so they are actually listening to our ideas. And it's a super good way of working with this company. So for the moment we are very happy where we are, and we want to stay and develop more B2B products, FinTech products for this niche market.
Yeah, I understand. Was it an occasion your choice of the fintech industry, or you just always loved finances, cash, and stuff like
I
that?
love cash. Who doesn't?
But why fintech?
It was because I didn't know FinTech. If I had known how complicated it is, I would never ever have gone FinTech. I would have said FinTech. Oh no. Oh no. Too crazy, complicated, too many laws, too regulated. So it was just, I was stupid. So, but don't, be stupid, go into FinTech. I know it's much more complicated than selling shoes or whatever online. FinTech is, it's crazy complicated, but once you're in it, it's a really good business, because it's complicated for other people to do it because of the things I already said. But if you have the will to do some high tech, then you have a really good chance in FinTech. So but again, it was not a scientific decision. It was just,
well, this is very motivating speech actually, and also 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 our conversation is limited by the time frame of the attention of people attention, so it is around about 40 minutes to 1 hour. In the end, I always ask about the failures, but you already shared your failure, which led you to some kind of personal success, I believe. Maybe you will share something else, maybe some business decisions which you have made wrong, which you maybe would done in the other way in the future, according to your experience.
Again, it has to do with Excel. Excel is not a database tool, and it's also not a customer relationship tool. And customer relationship is super important. Even if you only have 10 potential customers, you really have to have a good system to track and follow up your potential customers or your customers. So being able to manage the customers really good, that's a learning we had. And also it took us a long time until we had a solid chief financial officer, a real finance guy, because Alex he's our technical superhero, and I'm good in general management, also a little bit finances, but not an expert in finances. And our bookkeeping in the beginning was not very good, and this cost us a lot of sleepless nights later on, because so I would hire, if it's somehow possible, I would have much earlier a good financial person on board. That was also a mistake.
That's a good advice, actually. And which CRM system, by the way, do you use? Have you created it for yourself, or?
We are using Salesforce, but it's just not Excel. Anything else than Excel.
I dream. If speaking about it, I dream about the system when, for example, you can see all the activities of your potential customers within the LinkedIn, maybe Facebook, maybe Xing, and just to receive notifications. But still, I haven't found such a system.
Salesforce actually has, in our point of view, and we looked different systems, they have some really good APIs you can use, but don't think too much. Just you can change later on anyway, but for the beginning, just anything else than Excel. Pipedrive, or I don't know, just something that helps you a little bit and that gives you reminders, hey, where you can see you called this potential customer the last time 6 months ago. That's too long. Or you called this customer already 3 times a week. That's too often. So just not Excel.
Okay.
Excel is a super good thing for doing analysis of your data, but it's not a database and it's not a CRM. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's difficult to use it for reminding you, or it's when there are a lot of rows, it's just a mess. It looks like a mess. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to wish you a lot of luck with your company, with your goals, with your plans. It was very interesting talk. I hope we will find some time to dive deeper in some different topics.
Anytime. I enjoyed it as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks.